Hey guys, it's Con for Color Studios here. Today is Saturday, November 1st. Happy November. We are back here at Great Adventure for another round of updates. And of course, the main thing I want to come check out is progress on the new coaster over here. And we do have some new progress on this giant footer down here. Now, it's unknown if this is actually going to be the final footer or not. It very well could be. That's definitely a good possibility. But you can see that there is now rebar erecting from this footer, and this thing is just gigantic. Look at the size of the footer. I'm kind of surprised that there's only this one piece of rebar that's coming out of the footer, because it looks like it could encompass a lot more, but I'm assuming whatever support is going to be attached to this is going to be a very high stress area, given the fact that the footer is just absolutely huge. I do think there is definitely a possibility there could be more footers. We have this giant mound of dirt right here, and honestly, I could see one going in that direction, because obviously where I'm standing right now, right, you look straight down the line, and of course that is the line where the stall and the launch is going to be. And I'm assuming the tower is going to kind of turn this way a little bit and kind of go up basically right here. So where I'm standing right now is not going to be too far away from where the tower itself will be, which is pretty crazy to think about. But panning over there, looking by that last piece of King to Cod track sitting there, it's been sitting there for a while. We still have what looks to be a lot of rebar sitting on this table right here. I think it's rebar. It's kind of hard to tell through this weird looking fence here. But this right here is huge. It's a giant piece of progress right here. And of course, you know, they're not gonna be able to do too much until track and supports arrive, but it's great to see that they're getting all of the footer work done nice and early. That way, once everything does arrive, they'll be able to get rolling on it very quickly. And as you look down the line, it looks like most of these footers have all their rebar in and are starting to get concrete put in those rebar spots as well. So they're almost ready to go. I mean, you can look down the line there, anything with those covers pretty much done, or they're already exposed. You can see a couple of them that already have the concrete exposed. So definitely great progress. Does this mean it's opening early? Who knows? We're not going to know, like I said, until track actually arrives and supports arrive. Still checking Import Genius, still not seeing anything new. So I will continue to monitor that for you all. But this right here is very exciting progress. You can still see a lot of that dirt that was graded is still like that. I guess that was probably just to kind of get it out of their way. That way they have more room to work with down here on this end of the site where the giant footer is. But looking down the line, there's really nothing that's changed of significance. I mean, it's pretty much just more concrete being filled in where the rebar is. That's the only change you're really going to notice. And obviously nothing to really see of this project inside the park. But we are going to go inside the park, see what has changed. Looks like Toro is pretty empty. That's very tempting. We're going to see what has changed for this final weekend of Fright Fest. It's today and tomorrow, and that's it for Fright Fest. Then we start what is being called Grateful November, which is going to have a lot of like charity things. They're going to have, I believe, free admission to members of the military, along with a few other things. I'll have the full details of that linked in the description. There's a press release for it. But the park season will end on November 30th. And I'd imagine that Toro season is going to end a bit before that. I'd say either this weekend or next weekend is probably going to be it for Toro. So get your final rides in for the season. Of course, it's supposed to get that big retracking, which will hopefully make it a lot smoother. So that's going to be very exciting. But like I said, we're going to go inside the park and see what else has changed on this pretty windy day. As we make our way over to the main lot, just going to do a quick pan. You can see not really too much has changed. I mean, I'll show you guys, of course, because we want to show all the updates, but there's really not too much to be shown on this end of the site. So I got those giant dirt mounds over there, though. Those things are huge. Look at that. As I was driving into the park, I did want to note something. You can see it from this dash cam footage here. That split for the general parking, when you go to the left, versus going straight to either exit or go to preferred parking. If you've been to the park after a rainstorm, you'll know that that tends to flood pretty bad. So something I hope we can see fixed over the off season is making sure that that doesn't flood anymore, because it pretty much completely blocks at least one lane of traffic, and then usually half, if not more, of the other lane of traffic. So you have to drive into the yellow. I don't know how feasible it is, but you know, probably just some kind of new drainage system over there would take care of that and definitely go a long way, because during busy times like what it's probably going to be tonight, that can definitely become a problem pretty easily. Big difference walking in the park today versus this time last week. Security was a mess this time last week, and today they had every lane open. There was no clog up, nothing. It was a very nice experience. And up here, there's no line either. So there was a special event that was supposed to happen on Thursday. Now it is happening today. I'm not going to stay long enough to see it, but it's a wrestling event from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Heels, Hive Eyes, I think it is. I'm assuming I'm reading that right. But that's pretty cool. I know, like I said, it was supposed to be a couple days ago, but it got rained out, so they moved it to Saturday, which honestly makes a lot more sense because you're going to get a lot more people here on a Saturday, so hopefully it does well for them. Strange update over here at the Great Adventure Guide next to Junior Thrill Seekers. The cash to card machine is no longer there. I don't know where it went. Maybe it went backstage, but there's no longer one here. So I wanted to come over here to the Thrill Seeker store, which is not always open, so you got to get lucky and catch it open, but there's a 60% last chance sale on select items. Let's go see what those select items are. All right, so it's a really weird mix of things that are 60% off. We have these interesting looking garments, some Dead Man's Party shirts, which that's definitely from last year or earlier. Some thinking caps from Stranger Things. There's a ton of Stranger Things merch in here in general. These like really generic Six Flags shirts, some little devil shirts, and some Holiday in the Park merch. That's gonna be a dime a dozen pretty soon because there is no Holiday in the Park. Don't remember seeing these fountains right here in front of Skull Mountain, either in a long time or ever. So that's nice, love seeing little updates like that. Still crossing my fingers that when we come to the park next season that this ride will still be here. However, it is not opened at all this year, and there's no signs of anything really being done to it, so I'm definitely a little nervous about this one. Hopefully it will stay, but can't guarantee anything. So over here at Pass Holder Services / the Flash Pass, well, it just changed. Maybe it'll rotate out. You can see it inside the building. They still have ads for the 2025 slate of passes that are no longer for sale. It's all the 2026 passes that should be up there. So it's a little bit of an oversight there. And we're gonna make our way down to the other side of the park, see if anything's changed. I'm assuming not very much has changed, but still go down here anyway. Now, something I'm very curious to see after this weekend, once the Fright Fest season ends, is how attendance goes. Obviously, we saw a pretty big bump from Fright Fest, which we usually see. But the difference this time around is that the rest of the season was just so empty that seeing such a drastic shift for Fright Fest was definitely jarring. So I'm really curious what attendance is going to look like after this weekend, because they're open, I believe, 11 to 7 most days. No special events. I think maybe they'll do something for Veterans Day because they usually do. But otherwise, there's nothing definitive other than Grateful November, which isn't really an event. It's more so just like a series of offerings. So hopefully the attendance stays fairly well, or fairly high rather. I'm not necessarily counting on it because I saw the rest of the season and the rest of the season was not very busy here, but we'll see. I've walked down by Toro now to show you guys a little bit of a close-up view of the Rolling Thunder track that's been repainted because I haven't come all the way over here to take pictures of it yet. It's kind of striking just how nice it looks. Let's go a little higher up so we can see some of the top of it. All right, so here's your pretty close-up view. It looks like they even might have painted over some of the steel plating, which is really, really cool to see. Yeah, you can definitely see that for sure. I would love to know what inspired them to do this. I guess maybe they just decided, you know what? It's a piece of history, let's preserve it, which if that's the case, that's awesome on their part. I know I heard rumors of this actually getting removed when they were getting rid of Zumanjaro and Ka. Very glad they did not get rid of it because then the Rolling Thunder Hill wouldn't be the Rolling Thunder Hill anymore. Also, I know they did this a while ago, but I really do like the new material they have underneath the ramp here. I did not like that purple gravel at all. I thought it kind of looked bad. This actually fits in with the theme a lot better, being, you know, like this Spanish themed ride. Just a much better look overall. I mean, obviously grass is like the nicest thing, but I don't mind this at all. It almost kind of looks like sand. It's pretty cool. There goes Toro now. As you can see, they are front loading because today's a colder, windier day. And as a result, they want to make sure it does not valley. So that's why they have everybody towards the front of the train. It did start speeding up a little bit as we've been watching it go. I mean, dispatches, I'm gonna be honest, have been pretty sporadic. They are on one train. I've seen it go like every 5 minutes maybe. I'm assuming that's because of lack of guests. As you can see, there's pretty much nobody on that train, but I did see a couple full trains go out. But it has sped up just a little bit. This is how you know the park is not very crowded at all. There is a grand total of 1 person on the mine train. As we're walking through Frontier Adventures, I don't know how new that is, but that piece of like new concrete you can see up here, it's new. I just don't know how new. You can definitely tell, obviously, because of the much whiter color to it, plus the blue line that used to denote where the safari entrance is not here on this piece of concrete. It's a pretty big section too. All right, we've made it down to the boardwalk. Well, there's not really much to report on. We're just gonna walk down here and then walk back, probably eat at Garden State Grill, maybe go on the giant wheel, because I haven't been on the giant wheel in a while. Then that'll probably be it. You know it's a really windy day here when all the Fright Fest barricades that are, you know, held down with bags of sand get knocked over. That's no fault of the park, it's just really windy. Decided to walk down by my least favorite ride in the park, just to get a view of some of the stuff going on. I don't think I'm gonna ride it, but once the train goes by, I'll show you guys an update I'm noticing now. You can see along the brake run there, the railing of the catwalk has been fully repainted that really, really bright red. It looks very, very nice. You know, kind of a random thing for them to do. It seems like they've been painting a ton of things in the park, not named Nitro, but you know, it's nice to see. I really do appreciate the little touch-ups here and there because it goes a long way. Also, this wall along Superman's queue, the blue wall with the red pillars, that was definitely repainted recently. You can see all the kind of paint residue, presumably from spray paint. So that's nice. Again, love seeing them do little things like that. I haven't looked at the new coaster site in quite a while from this angle, and we're noticing this very strange kind of pad for concrete here. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what that's for. So actually, this is not a pad of concrete, it's just water. We saw it when we were on the top of the lift hill, so don't get too excited. All the way over there, you can see where the footers are. That's basically where the station is over there. But otherwise, you can see lots of the concrete that has been finished on the rebar portions of the footers. And of course, all the giant dirt mountains. They love having dirt mountains on this site. This is what I like about coming on these nice fall weekends in the morning before Fright Fest starts. No one here. Looks like there's a new chain link fence right there underneath Superman's brake run to kind of separate the grass area from underneath the transfer track area. Now, before we head out for the day, we go for a ride on the giant wheel. Like I said, I haven't been on it in a while, and then that'll probably be it. All right, I'm gonna attempt to talk over the obnoxiously loud music, which if anyone from the park is listening, can we please turn the music volume down once Fright Fest is over? It's so loud. But we're gonna see what we can see of the site from up here. Now that I've got the iPhone 17 Pro, which has better zoom than the previous phone. And I mean, there's not too much different to see up here. You can definitely see a lot of those concrete footers I was talking about from outside the park. You can't quite see the end of the site, at least not yet. We might be able to see it. As for Daredevil Dive's plot, where is it? There it is. There's nothing we can see. I'm still assuming something might happen over there, but definitely not yet. And over there at the new coaster site, yeah, that's about as far as we're going to be able to see. You can at least see the start of the ride right there with the maintenance track and where the station is with the first launch. Then it goes out, turns that way. You can see the opening for the start of the stall, presumably, and it starts going down that way, all the way down until you'll hit the tower, which will be like right there, kind of. But otherwise, taking a look around the park, I mean, it's not really too much to see, but it's always nice to get a ride on the giant wheel, since this is now the only ride you can go on that's high up in the park that you're allowed to take pictures on. Looks like Devil's getting ready to open. Bit of a late start today. You can see a employee in the front row of that train right there. From what I understand, it had some issues yesterday because of the wind. Didn't open, so hopefully we'll see it make it through the course today and be able to open. Devil does not like the wind at all. It has a very hard time operating in windy conditions, so hopefully it's able to make it today. It looks like it's going at an okay rate of speed so far, considering there's only one person on the train. Yeah, it's not too bad. Let's see how it goes into the mid-course brakes. That's always the big test. So if it's in a valley anywhere, it's after the 0G roll going into the mid-course brakes. So let's see. It made it. Awesome. Taking a look down at Flash. It's got a line, so it doesn't matter how dead the park might be. Flash pretty much always is guaranteed to have a line. You can see a fair amount of school buses and charter buses here. Not too many. Usually Saturdays aren't going to be a huge day for that, but I'm curious to see how that changes as we go later on into the season. Let's see, can we see anything on the end there? No, not really. You see the fence goes all the way down, blocking where Ka was, but otherwise, not too much to see. Decided to come take a stroll through Movie Town real quick before I head out for the day. This will be the last time we see all the Fright Fest decorations until next year. And something I want to make note of, the RIP bar, it never opened this year, which I'm definitely disappointed about. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm sure there are reasons that are probably justifiable, but this was, to me, a staple of the park last year, and I think they started the year before when they first opened it as the game bar. So having this closed stings, especially because we haven't seen it open at all this year. Well, actually, this is interesting. So the door is open, but it is blocked off. I'm curious if I could see what it looks like inside without actually walking in. Yes, I can. See anything new? It just looks like an empty pit of darkness. I can't really tell anything. The chairs are in there, but besides that, I cannot tell what decorations are inside or anything. Looks like we have the start of the Heels Have Eyes event over here. We got a tent in front of the Batman Stunt Arena. We got some people with cameras, presumably from the event. We got a couple other little tents here, probably for check-in and whatnot. They also have a tent over there. You know, come around the corner here. They have a tent over there, presumably for more stuff with this event. Like I said, not gonna stay here for it, but it is pretty cool that they have it. Yeah, you can see they have credentials, check-in, all that stuff. Our last look at Porky and Petunia in their Halloween attire before they presumably switch back over to the regular attire for the rest of the season. That's gonna do it for my quick stop in a great adventure. I actually rode something for once, so for everyone always asking in the comments why I don't ride anything, I did at least ride something. But it was nice to see the update on the new coaster. That was really cool with the giant footer and all the other stuff that's happened at the park as we wind down the Fright Fest season. But if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.